Chapter 392. Seeing that there had been no particular contact so far, Yudhir figured it might have been handled well, but he couldn't help but worry about the cavalry members, even though he knew better. Since you have answered what you will do tomorrow, may I ask one thing now? A small voice reached Yudhir's ears. Yudhir turned his eyes towards the warmth of the man who still had his head buried in the nape of his neck. Is there something you're curious about? What's the secret of being able to down a strong drink in one gulp without getting drunk? Is that what you're curious about? It's about you. A sudden yet obvious statement, spoken as if it was nothing unusual, stirred the air and tingled Yudhir's skin. Yudhir looked down at the strong, large hand around his waist, briefly pondering how much and what exactly to say. It didn't take long to respond. It's as I have told you. Ordinary alcohol doesn't make me drunk. Ordinary, you say? So, it's not like you never get drunk? Yes, well, to get drunk, he needed alcohol mixed with monster blood, not ordinary liquor. He first realized this when he attended a party and drank a poison drink sent by someone targeting him. Unlike other toxins, which had no effect like water or ordinary beverages, Yudhir had understood for the first time what it meant to be drunk when he drank that alcohol. The sensation of deadened emotions awakening and the flames igniting inside his cold flesh brought a considerable shock to his body, long devoid of human warmth. Subsequent investigation revealed that the poison in that drink included some monster blood. His body's lowered resistance to monsters allowed the intoxication to creep in. Unlike normal poisons, there was no other problem, and since discovering this, Yudhir would keep the drink and occasionally consume it alone when he wanted to experience the sensation of intoxication. That daring image added another stroke to all sorts of sinister rumors surrounding the dark haired, commoner born Omega Cavalry commander. But there was no need to tell Kishir that he couldn't get drunk unless it was that particular poison drink. To explain it, it would require telling him the story of drinking the poison liquor, a subject not yet open for discussion. Between what could be said and what couldn't, as the frail boundary became increasingly blurred, Kishir's soft whisper reached him. Yes, the pleasure of the drink we shared last time was too brief to truly understand the limits. How do you feel about taking time to more leisurely gauge each other's tolerance once this matter is over? It was clear when he referred to last time. It was the story of the Leong wine, where they had gloriously sacrificed one sofa in their lodgings. Without realizing it, Yudhir caught his glance, almost drifting towards the newly replaced sofa. Yes, if you call, I will come. Though the response was stiff, it wasn't difficult for a perceptive man to realize what had briefly crossed Yudhir's mind before that answer. A bright laugh sounded near Yudhir's nape. Good, I will look forward to it. Despite both discussing future matters, there was a significant difference between planning and anticipation. The hand that had been around Yudhir's waist gained its strength, and the tired breath seemed to revive with vigor. Contrary to the weightiness inherent in a plan, there was no weight to expectation. It was fine whether fulfilled or unfulfilled. But Kishir Lahore was strangely awakened to the fact that what breathed warmth into him was exactly the future oriented expectation. He hesitated for a moment, then cautiously asked, Have you regained some strength? Ah, you caught me. Kishir, who responded coolly, smiled bitterly. I'm sorry if I seem to have worried you, but it's all right. There are not many chances to moderately wield the powers we possess, so I wanted to test them when I could. You mean you wanted to use both magic power and the power of the Awakener together? Yes, You can't know anything without trying it firsthand. I will have to bear it. Kishir's eyes seemed to be looking far away as he spoke. Born with enormous power that were hard for his physical body to manage, he was living an ironic life where he couldn't utilize them properly. However, that didn't mean he had ever given up on what he possessed. He knew better than anyone that living quietly would be easiest. Yet, the will within Kishir's eyes had never dimmed for a moment. That's why he had been able to come this far. To tell such a person to be more careful would only be an insult to that determination. Yudhir swallowed the words that had risen to his throat and instead wished more intensely for his own recovery. I need to recover as soon as possible, at least before the day of the auction. The next day, as soon as morning dawned, Finn Eldor knocked on the door. He was a messenger sent by Ever from the security management team. Did you find out everything about what Baron Wilhelm did at the security management team last night? Yes, it wasn't much different from what you anticipated. Baron Wilhelm had secretly visited the Knight Commander Jammer Phil at the security management team the previous night. Though he had hidden his identity under shabby clothes and a cloak, he couldn't avoid the eyes of the cavalry. After quickly finishing his conversation with the Knight Commander, he descended to the underground dungeon carrying a heavy bag with only a lame servant in tow. Ever, accompanied by Eamon, who was good at hiding his presence in the dark, Jody, who was sensitive to sound, along with Finn in case of emergency, had secretly trailed Baron Wilhelm. It wouldn't have been too difficult to follow two ordinary people for a distance, except that the guard shift change gave them the chance to descend to the third floor underground floor. To everyone's astonishment, the Baron suddenly disappeared at the end of the wall on the third floor. Sometime later, he reappeared empty-handed, without the bag, and nonchalantly returned to his mansion. The cavalry members hidden in the darkness conjured by Eamon's abilities all clearly witnessed him vanishing and then returning. It seems the wall Yudhir discovered was indeed the door to a hidden passage leading to a concealed space, one of them reported. After Baron Wilhelm left, those who went to examine the wall he had disappeared into found a faint blood stain near a carved family crest. It seemed hastily wiped but not entirely cleaned. Blood stains. The protection of blood must indeed be strong. Concluding the matter, Kishir gave Finn some directions to pass on to Ever, thanking him for the hard work. Yudhir, who had gone out to wait while the conversation extended, approached Finn as he came out after the report. Finn, I called for a carriage for your ride back. Huh? I'm fine. Thanks, Yudhir. A boy with a face identical to the absent hen gave a faint smile and honestly extended his thanks. It should be me thanking you. You came to help me when I was being investigated, but I have been so preoccupied since then that I never properly thanked you. What's the big deal? I just did what needed to be done. Although he had often seen the elder siblings together, it was almost his first time having a conversation like this with an individual. However, there was no need to fret about the topic of conversation. It was because Finn started talking with a cheerful face about the small retribution that he had been giving to the Danu Knights since the incident during the investigation. I'm glad I listened to Yudhir at that time. Knight Commander Phil really enjoys being teased. Whenever I say something, he shivers so much as if winter has come around him. It's a shame I couldn't see it myself. Right? If we go together now, we can see it. Want to come? I have something to do right now. As he answered, embedding his sincere regret, Finn laughed cheerfully. Yudhir opened his mouth after momentarily gazing at his bright and innocent face. Recently, are you okay? Since coming here, Finn had been somewhat drained for a while. It was understandable, as he was separated from his sister Hin for the first time since birth. But as he looked after the memory lost ones with Lusan and gradually regained his strength, he was completely engrossed in teasing the Tenno Knights, and it seemed he had fully recovered the former zeal. Still, the difficulty he must feel from being separated from his kin wouldn't have completely disappeared. Me? Of course I'm fine. The boy, catching right away what either meant, answered brightly. Rather, everyone is being too considerate. It's a little strange. According to the letters from Hin, she feels the same way, but I never thought either would be worrying as well. I will have to write this in the next letter. Yudir, watching the excited boy, kept silent for a moment and then opened his mouth. That offer I made earlier, do you still remember it?